Hi there, viewers. My name is Amelia Lumpkin, and I'm an actor on AFAB, the web series. I play the character Diamond, and I've recently been added to the diversity and script teams. So that's in the capacity in which I'm coming to do this interview with Sarah Taub.
Hello to everyone who's watching. I'm Sarah. I've been organizing events with a group called Network for a New Culture for about 15 years now, and our main goal is trying to create a world where people get along without violence, where people communicate clearly, where people are clear about their own boundaries and consent, and know how to manage big emotions. And a big part of that is training in relationship skills. Up until COVID, we were running maybe 8 retreats a year, multi-date retreats. The COVID pandemic has really slowed all that down. So now we're doing some stuff online. But basically, I get to have a lot of fun. I get to think of, well, what would be really excellent to explore? I also specialize in helping people work with conflict. So I teach processes that help people in a group really see and understand each other better and get what's going on. Because often when conflict happens, it's not really about what people say it's about or even what people think it's about. It's something deeper than that. And if we don't get to the deeper, it's really hard to solve the conflict.
Oh, wonderful. Well, let's dig into that a little bit as well. What do you think is one of the major changes we would experience if we learn to deal with conflict differently?
I think one of the main differences is that people wouldn't give up on each other. I mean, blood family, it takes a lot to give up on blood family usually, unless there's like major abuse going on, people often hang in there. But relationships that people, friend relationships, work relationships, lover relationships, it's really easy to just get disillusioned and be like, this person is never going to get it, never going to get me, it's hopeless. But if people had these skills of understanding their own reactivity, working on repair, working on resolution, that would enable people to continue to relate in a way that works for everyone. And particularly, I guess, pertinent to maybe what we're going to be talking about is in romantic relationships, romantic or sexual or intimate relationships. There's this serial monogamy thing where people can be really, really close for a long time, but then stuff happens and then they think they have to hate each other and stop relating altogether. So the skills to transition relationships into something that works better. And particularly, among radical or alternative communities, there are often these small groups of people who are working together really hard, and the personal relationships can blow it all up, And so these skills will help people, or they do help people already, come back together, get along better, actually come to a deeper understanding, and maybe even one that informs their collective action vision from exploring conflict in these ways.
Oh, wonderful. You've given us so much to chew on there. One of our big topics we want to talk about today is polyamory. And you've started to hint at ways in which looking at a relationship through a new lens can offer some new possibilities or solutions. Can you talk about what polyamory is and what it means for these different types of relationships you've mentioned?
Yeah, absolutely. So polyamory is the practice of having intimate, romantic, potentially sexual relationships with more than one person at a time, by which it doesn't mean that everybody that you're connected to is also connected with each other. There could be, like spokes on a wheel, but these are concurrent relationships that everyone is basically consenting to and okay with that happening. So that's polyamory. It's one way of relating under a general larger banner, I guess, of ethical non-monogamy, which has other things. But in polyamory, there's an intention towards a sustained involvement in each other's lives in a way that's loving. When I was quite young, from a young age, I was reading fantasy and science fiction literature, and which was really wonderful because it let me see so many different ways that the world could be, not just the way it is right now, but all possibilities. And some of them had people relating in very different ways. And I got excited about that. So from early teens, I guess, I was interested in the possibility of open relationships, which was the word polyamory hadn't even been coined yet. It was coined in the 90s. When I was in my late teens, I had some explosively awful experiences at open relating, and that's because I had no skills. The people I was relating to really didn't have these skills of, you know, understanding ourselves, being clear about what we wanted, being able to ask for it, being able to receive a no gracefully. So, and at that time, I didn't even really think that polyamory was a legit way to be. So I was working from this kind of guilt complex and like, well, you know, maybe I was afraid even to name what it was I wanted to try. So, so I guess starting then, I had some experimentation that did not go well at all. My first mutually consensual and enjoyable polyamorous relating was in my late 20s when I met two other people who were in a relationship already and who wanted to be polyamorous. And so we were in a triad together for about 2 or 3 years, and that ended amicably. And at this point, I'm in what I would call a polyamorous network or an intimate network, where there's a lot of people that I know and care about that have various kinds of interconnections with each other, some of which are sexual, some of which are romantic, some of which are neither. Yeah.
Wow, that is wide ranging and so expansive. What do you think ethical non-monogamy has to offer to outlier or marginalized identities? What can someone who experiences any identity that's marginalized maybe get out of learning more about ethical non-monogamy?
I think one really key piece of it for me anyway has been looking at what culture has handed me about how relationships should be and taking that apart and being able to decide, okay, I like this, I don't like that. This really works well, this has not worked well for anyone I know. So the tools to be able to do that, I think are really important, particularly for people from marginalized communities, because often the dominant narrative that they're handed is just, it doesn't fit them at all, and it's oppressive. So that tool of being able to inquire, and also the ability to connect across differences. So ethical non-monogamy requires relationship skills on steroids. So relating to just one other person takes a lot of relationship skills, depending really on how much trauma each of you carry and, you know, what other challenges you have in your life. But when there's many people or multiple people in the mix, it just, it ramps up the difficulty level. So having those skills, I think, serves also to create group solidarity, to help the community stay together in times of difficulty. So there's an application beyond just the non-monogamy to, to other situations.
Incredible. I love how you give us this balance between the ways that ethical non-monogamy can help look at, dissect, and dismantle problems, but can also build on solutions and joy and, like you said, pleasure. So we've talked a little bit about some of the challenges. What are some of the benefits? What is it like maybe for someone who's never tried relating to more than one person at a time? What are the beautiful moments or surprises that can come with that?
So there's this thing that the word that was coined for it is compersion. And so it's a subset of what in Buddhism is called sympathetic joy. It's being delighted at someone you love being happy. And in a sense, it's the opposite of jealousy. And for some people who practice ethical non-monogamy, it's really, really real. So, for example, today I got to see one of my partners doing work projects with their partner, and I enjoy watching them work together because they're such a smooth and solid team, and they take such pleasure in each other's company. So yeah, so that was a compersive moment for me. So that's one of the pleasures. Another pleasure, now people do polyamory in different ways. So some people prefer to just relate to one person at a time and not have everybody relate all together. But when people that I'm relating with all like each other, being in the center of a cuddle pile of all these people who are loving on each other, whether it's sexual or whether it's non-sexual, it's just this like, oh, you know, it's an amazing moment. So, and then also just getting to see the world through many different people's eyes. When I relate romantically to someone, I really get inside their world, and it opens up new things to me. So that's a pleasure to be able to do that multiple times.